Turkey and Syria have raised urgent questions about both countries' readiness to deal with such events. Scientists are already warning that the chance of another big quake is substantial, including in Turkey's biggest city, Istanbul. Now, the race is on to get the city prepared, with engineers offering free building checks for residents.
In densely populated Istanbul, a team of engineers is going from house to house. They're measuring the quality of concrete and the width of steel reinforcement bars. Istanbul authorities have admitted the city has fallen behind on earthquake prevention, and they are now offering free building checks for concerned residents.
Since the earthquake, we have received 120,000 requests that we have divided into groups according to the degree of risk. Every day, every hour, the number of requests we receive increases.
While the city in the Bosporus Strait was spared by the recent quakes, experts say people have a right to be concerned. One of the most active fault lines in the world runs just south of Istanbul, the North Anatolian Fault, which separates the Eurasian and Anatolian tectonic plates. Seismologists say there's a 47% chance that Istanbul will be hit by a massive earthquake in the next 30 years, one with a magnitude above 7.3.
Can you imagine how we live? Sometimes we can't sleep because of the fear.
The North Anatolian fault line has caused deadly damage before. In 1999, a similarly strong tremor struck just east of Istanbul, killing 1,000 people in the city and 17,000 people in total. Since then, the city has undergone a rapid wave of urbanization, and the city's population has doubled. Some 15 million people live in Istanbul today, all of whom at risk if the big one strikes. Magnifying the danger, according to engineers and architects, a 2018 government move to legalize unregistered construction work. People in Istanbul want to be sure that their home is safe.
We're having the test done for our safety. It's important because it's impossible to know where you will be when an earthquake happens. You could be at home, in the building.
The municipality says nearly 100,000 buildings in the city are at risk of collapse or serious damage in the event of a major quake.
There are more than 1 million buildings in Istanbul, about 800,000 of them built before 2000. These are the ones we want to focus on.
It's a mammoth task for engineers carrying out the inspection work, and an anxious wait for residents wanting to know if their home will withstand the next big quake.
Joining me now from London is Yasemin Didem Aktaş. She's an engineer specializing on the effects of earthquakes on buildings at University College London. Welcome to DW. Now, what exactly is considered an earthquake-resistant building?
An earthquake-resistant building is one with sufficient vertical and lateral load-bearing capacity that's not going to fall down during an earthquake, where damage is controlled and life safety can be achieved.
And what happens when some buildings are deemed unsafe in the event of an earthquake, as is happening in Istanbul right now?
There are various means to be able to continue using the existing structures that are deemed unsafe. There are many methods to elevate the seismic safety. Strengthening methods and retrofit methods that can be implemented on the buildings. But of course, they are not miracles. They need to be designed correctly as well. They can be very costly, and they sometimes cannot really save the situation. So it's very important that the buildings are reviewed, and the ones that are that can be retrofitted for better seismic safety can be separated from the ones that can't.
Istanbul is a huge city. How long would it take to seismically retrofit a city of that extent, of that magnitude?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of time and effort, unfortunately, to review the stock, because that's one thing that started, some years ago, but never really was completed for the rest of the entirety of the city. So I think the next steps for Istanbul should be launching a very thorough review process where all the professionals and academic engineers are deployed to look into the buildings conditions. And once actually, the buildings that can be retrofitted are identified, it is going to be, again, a long and very costly process, but can be done and should be done. Because, as you also was saying, when the earthquake hits Istanbul, it is going to be a catastrophe otherwise.
Most of the buildings in Istanbul were built before rule changes that enforce stricter construction standards. And even after they came into effect, we now know that they were not always followed. So how prepared can the city of Istanbul be right now in that case for this next earthquake that might strike?
Absolutely, you are right. I mean, regardless the construction date, we see, the recent earthquake has shown us that the code compliance is a big issue. So, as I said, I think the review of the building stocks is extremely critical and very, very urgent at this point. But also, as you were also mentioning, the city planning and urban design should be reviewed, because the building safety is one. But also, for example, right now in Istanbul, we are not seeing very healthy evacuation routes, the gathering spaces, etc., because the city, grew in an uncontrollable fashion. And this needs to change, and the city plan needs to be looked into carefully to create these evacuation and gathering routes in case of a disaster.
Yasemin Dikdem Aktaş of University College London, thank you for your time.
Thank you.